G'day, Nick from AustralianNativeBee.com. Today's video is on a dream I had to put stingless bees on a farm. Now, ever since I started with stingless bees, I've always thought about how good it would be to have a lot of beehives sitting on a farm helping to produce food for people. I asked around a lot of different stingless beekeepers who'd previously done pollination services in small towns in Australia, and a tale was told that was really sad. Stingless beekeepers had put their bees on farms, and the farmer had sprayed something, and over a 2-year period they'd seen a decline in their colony numbers until the colony ended up dying. So I knew straight away that I needed to find an organic farm. I looked around, there were a few different options that I could have gone with, but in 2016 I decided to take a trip to North Queensland to study bees in the wild. During my stay there, I stayed with some family friends, Merrin and Jeremy, who run a tropical fruit farm in northern Queensland. And I left 2 colonies at their farm just to see what would happen. After a very short amount of time, Merrin rang me all excited and said that they'd seen a 14% crop increase on many of their fruit varieties. They've got 74 varieties of tropical fruit there, and that was only 2 colonies of stingless bees. So they rang and they said that they wanted more colonies of stingless bees, and I said, hey, look, I'd love to set up my bees on a farm where they could be studied and things like that. And Merrin said, yes, come up and do that, because we have lots of scientists that stop by and study the insects on our farm, and we're almost completely organic here. So that's what I did. I travelled north the next year, and Dave Jensen and I went out to a property we were invited to, where they were clearing and burning all the dead trees off. So we were invited to collect bees from the wild, and I boxed them and we took them out to the farm. So this is the story of those bees and some experiences I've had with putting those bees on the farm, and I'd love to share it with you. Here we are, day 1 of setting up the tropical bee farm. I've been planning to do this for about 4 years now. It's been a dream, so I'm pretty excited about finally getting it together. It's been about a year in the making, putting the hives together and things like that, so get up there and see what it's like. Here's some of the workers. Here's Lewis.
Not the best painters in the world.
I
I'm
don't
painting
think
myself more than I'm painting the thing.
Someone's painting.
I don't think they're being paid enough.
Paid enough. If I was me, I wouldn't pay us at all.
And that's the finished racks over there. Oh, rack. In the year leading up to my trip, I propagated as many beehives as I could, and I took up with me quite a lot of beehives fitted with series supers. I have a particular interest in a type of honey produced by one of the trees.
So this is box 1 of 60. And away they go. Happy as Larry. Maybe.
Each species of bee is ordered onto its own rack. There are 6 species of bee on the farm, covering 2 genus of bee. So I'm just walking over. This is the first stingless bee rack that we've set up on the tropical fruit farm. The bees are having some bee wars, trying to find their colony, but they'll sort that out. Yeah. This is the team of bee helpers that have helped the native.
You can't call us a bee team. That's disparaging.
With all my bees brought up with me, happy and settled in their racks, it was time to head out to the property where the burning and clearing was happening and rescue some bees. Lewis Roberts offered to guide me out there and take me over the coast road. Now, the coast road is a treacherous road. It's a really popular four-wheel drive track. I took a time lapse, that's what's happening now, of the whole road, and it was pretty dry when we went along there, so it was pretty safe to go along. But you do still see four-wheel drives and cars off the edge along the road. Dave and I out going up a hill on the first day of bee collecting. Are collecting the beehives.
True virgin birth, they don't need pollination, but I see bugs around.
Property, the bees in the back, and heading to the farm now. It's been a great 3 days here collecting bees and hearing stories, local stories and things like that of the area. So yeah. Well, it's not all fun and games when experimenting with new stingless bee ideas in farming. I had 20 of my colonies decimated by not the forehead fly, not the seraphid fly, but the black soldier fly, which is very prevalent in this area. Not only the black soldier fly, but I discovered a new species of hive beetle that attacks stingless bees. That is in North Queensland. So I'll share with you about that on Instagram or somewhere like that at a later date.
So, my name's Merrin, and I used to babysit him when he was a very little boy. I don't babysit him now. I babysit his bees. And I have lots of bees. About how many?
There were about 60, and I
Yes.
think after the black soldier fly there could be about 40.
Yes. So it's very sad that I didn't keep all the bees alive. But in the rainforest, we've discovered that it's not only great for growing bees, but it's also great for growing things that like to eat bees.
Yes, and do you want to tell us a little bit about what you've seen with crops so far? You might not, because
yes.
we've had a big wet season here.
We have, but one of the things we noticed is that the bees make a big difference to the pollination of our fruit. And what we've discovered is with the European honeybees, they're really big and clumsy, and they damage our really fine exotic fruit flowers. Our flowers are very delicate. So these great big European bees just mangle the flowers, and then the flowers in turn don't have the best capacity or potential to be able to make really nice formed fruit. The difference with the native bees is that they don't damage the flowers, and they're really fine, so they get right into the dense filaments of flowers. So it's great for us. We've really seen a marked increase in the number of fruit we produce and the quality of fruit we produce.
Cool.
Especially durians, which happen to be my favourite fruit.
Okay, so in the next couple of years we can probably expect to see more of the bees propagated here.
Yep.
And maybe even get some scientists up here to have a look at them.
Yeah, and one of the things that we've noticed is that, you know, farming is a journey. It's not a state, and having the bees on the farm is a part of that journey. And someone once said that the best fertilizer you can use on your farm are a farmer's footsteps. And by that they mean going around, observing, seeing what's happening, keeping an eye on things. So for us, with the bees, it's been another dimension to that observation. And looking at what they're doing, when they're busy, when they're quiet. One of the things I think is giving them more space.
Yep.
That's a really big thing. And although where you are, it may be okay to have them close together, where we are, because there's so much space, they like the space. And when they're close together, they're compromised.
Yep, and that's definitely something that we've seen, is that the colonies that are sitting by themselves, dotted around the farm, jam-packed full and really, really happy.
Yes. And we don't want any inbreeding in far north Queensland.
We don't.
Do we?
No.
So, I think that, you know, that journeying, that observation is a really important thing.
Yeah.
So hopefully by this time next year, we will have a doubling.
Yep. And so what's the other thing that's really interesting about this farm is you could essentially say this was, in the beginning, one man's sort of dream, and just observing and trialing and testing.
And now it's a family's dream.
Now it's a family's dream.
With 4 generations. One of the other things that, you know, has been really important is the fact that having the bees here means we've had to do some other things differently. So we've been on a journey in natural farming, but this really makes a big difference. That absolutely no pesticides means that we have to work on doing things differently. We still have to spray one sort of tree, the purple mangosteen, twice a year, and we spray the bottom trunk by 1 metre. So now what we do is we do it by hand, and we do it after dark with spotlights. Which, you know, is not so bad, because the bug climbs up, stings the fruit, and then climbs back down.
Oh, wow.
Yeah, so by getting that 1 metre on the bottom is good. But what it means is, in the past, we would have put it into a spray machine and just misted it. We don't do that anymore.
No.
We're idiots with spotlights and pumpkins around all the trees.
Oh, well,
Nothing wrong.
Nothing wrong. If it maintains organic fruit farming,
yeah.
I think it's good.
The other thing, I think, that, you know, farming has changed a lot. And for us, working towards having multiple enterprises and other people working on the farm with us brings a richness of experience and knowledge, but also the ability to reflect. So, you know, even though it's our farm, it's your bees and hives. And so we're benefiting, but what we want is to be able to have you benefit as well, so that you can come and build up and take hives away and rent them and sell honey and sell wax and things like that. But I think that that's a really important thing nowadays.
Yeah.
That buying farms is an expensive exercise and almost impossible if you're young.
Yep.
So if you have a farm and you're able to encourage other young people to be able to come on and build up enterprises on the farm without the outlay of a farm, that's a really good thing for us.
Yeah.
For us as a community, for us as a family, for us as Australia, really.
Yep.
To be able to develop those enterprises. And I know that we've seen the benefit in Christian with the coconuts, collecting coconuts. We have a fellow who comes up, harvests all of our coconuts so they don't drop on tourists' heads our heads.
Quite a lot of coconuts down there.
There's quite a lot of
isn't there?
coconuts. And Christian comes up, he harvests them, he makes them absolutely beautiful looking. There's no coconuts that will fall and hurt cars or people. But he takes the coconuts and sells them.
Yep.
Now that's a great bonus for us, but a great bonus for him.
Yeah.
And so developing those enterprises is a really good way forward for Australia as a whole.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I think that's really good. And
Yeah.
people from the farmers I've met, apart from you, there has been a real, more often than not, a segregation, or we're doing something secret over here. And the places that I've seen where people are really benefiting is where people are really working together and changing their practices so multiple people can benefit.
Yep. And I think it's quite remarkable that he's grown up rather decent from a little bubby to this. A bee man.
A bee man.
A bee man, go the bee man.
So yeah, that's the update. What's that? 2-year update. Initially from when the first bees
Yeah,
were
the first 2 hives sent up by post,
Yeah.
and now we've got 40 healthy ones.
Mhm. So
That's pretty impressive. That's well over, like percentage-wise,
yeah.
we're talking about a high percentage increase
Yep.
in healthy hives.
That's the update, and we'll see you next time.